Hi there YouTubers, Robert Llewellyn here with another Wet Liberal Weekly, and what a week it's been. Actually some historic, groundbreaking news. For a Wet Liberal, really, of my age, to see an American president, I'm not going to mention anything about skin colour, but an American president who is truly articulate, intelligent, well versed in international affairs. I mean, what a surprise. I was on tenterhooks while that was all going on. I was in tears on the morning. My daughter watched me crying over breakfast when I heard his speech when he mentioned his little daughters and they could have a puppy. How pathetic is that? That is true Wet Liberal credentials. But anyway, that is really good. And at the same time as that, what we had in this country were a load of scandals about some fairly sleazy MPs hanging around on multi-billionaire Russian yachts and all that stuff. That was you know, one of those stories that comes and goes in the press. But boy, did it go quickly, because what did we have in its place? Yep. Brandy and Rossi. What a bizarre thing. Now, I suppose I should have an opinion about this as a Wet Liberal. It's very hard to muster one up. I mean, Jonathan Ross, I've known for many years, strangely enough, when I made my first TV show back in 1984. One of the very first TV shows I worked on, Jonathan Ross was the researcher on that programme, and boy was he good. He was absolutely brilliant. Genius bloke, and he was just a kid then. And he's about 4 years younger than me, I think, something like that, 3 or 4 years younger than me. Lovely bloke, and I've been on his show a couple of times before it was a big hoo-ha on BBC One, when it was a little dibbery-doobry on Channel 4. I've been on it a couple of times. Very nice guy. Very interesting what happened to those two blokes, sort of pissing about, being silly. But I don't really have an opinion on it. You know, because I'm a swearer, a great swearer, as you know. You know, I could say, what a couple of fucking idiots, but I don't think I will. I think it's a great shame what's happened, and it's so obvious. It's the Daily Mail that's had the problem. The bloody Daily Mail. Bane of my life, all my childhood, my parents read the Daily Mail, and most of my adult life, my mother would send me clippings from the Daily Mail. I used to send her clippings from the Workers' Press, the communist newspaper in this country, just to kind of balance it out. But I couldn't really be bothered to read them. I just used to cut out random articles. They're all pretty depressing. But, you know, it's a great load of hoo-ha over nothing, and it's very interesting how it moved really important political stories off the front page for quite a long time. And then there's the granddaughter, who's the sort of, for those of you who don't know about this in America, there's these two, okay, I'll do a quick explanation. There's these two blokes who do radio shows, and they were they made a phone call to an old actor who used to play Manuel. Andrew Sachs, his name is. He used to play Manuel in a series called Fawlty Towers many years ago. He's done loads of other things too, but that was one of his things he's very famous for. So they rang him up and they left silly messages on his answer machine, and including a description of how one of these men, a young Russell Brand, had had sex with his granddaughter. Now, his granddaughter immediately managed to get an enormous amount of press coverage for this because she was so heartbroken, and it was absolutely a travesty. She is effectively a sort of goth stripper, so she's not exactly backward in coming forward, as they used to say in the olden days. But nonetheless, it was very upsetting for the old dude, Mr. Sachs. Not really fair on him having all those sort of smutty messages left on his answer machine. And the thing that really turned it was that he'd asked them not to put it out, and the BBC just ignored him, and it's all to do with the BBC. And what the big scandal is that Jonathan Ross gets paid a lot of money, a hell of a lot of money. But it doesn't all go to him. You know, when you hear Jonathan Ross on 12 million, no, Jonathan Ross's company, which includes quite a lot of people I know, it may be on have a total budget of 12 million to produce all those shows. So they're not, Jonathan Ross doesn't get anything like that. That said, he is extremely well paid, and being as another fellow professional working in the same industry on considerably less money, there's a certain amount of schadenfreude from the rest of the performing community. But, you know, that's not very nice. It's not a very Wet Liberal thing to have. So I say, you know, I mean, I'm sure he's not going to resign or anything like that. But, you know, it's one of those stories that's annoying. Basically, I find it an annoying story. It's fucking annoying, and I wish it wasn't there. Well, YouTubers, that was a very brief Wet Liberal update. I'm sometimes having to do these on the fly, as it were. As you can see, I'm standing in front of my new blue screen. I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything groovy for you guys, because I'm just not technically efficient enough. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm on twitter.com/BobbyLou, and that's really good fun. And LouTube.com will be going as soon as I can get round to putting all the material that I'm shooting on it. So YouTubers, if you have been, Thank you for watching.